Hello, pet parents and pet lovers. Since ancient times, Shih Tzus have made themselves very comfortable on the laps of people from all walks of life, even emperors. They're one of a kind and among the most loved breeds in India. As much as we think we know about this special breed, there's a lot more to them than just being playful companions. If you're a proud parent of a Shih Tzu or are looking to adopt one, then this session will be very beneficial for you. This is Niharika from PetFed India, your host for today. And as promised, we are here with an interesting topic of discussion all you need to know about Shih Tzus, where we will discuss their origins, lifestyle, some specific traits, and extraordinary facts, among many other things. And taking us through this session will be our expert guest for today, Mr. Srinivas Jakani, dog behavior and training expert. He's currently associated with Kong as their brand ambassador for India and has a rich experience spanning over 15 years in dog behavior, training, and nutrition. He also holds various certifications from organizations both in India and abroad, specializing in canine training for scent detection, tracking, search, and rescue. Hi Srinivas, how are you today?
Hi, I'm doing really, really nice, and thank you so much for having me over for this session. Um,
Thank you.
I
So,
hope,
people who are watching us, yeah,
yeah, I hope it's a very helpful session for the people who are watching us. Exactly the kind of point I was trying to convey, and I hope that people find, especially those people, those pet parents or anybody who would want to get a dog. Or who already have gotten dogs can find a lot of help coming from this and will benefit from
definitely.
this.
Definitely, definitely. So, people who are watching us, please feel free to drop in any queries that you may have about Shih Tzus in the comment section below, and we will surely answer them all for you. And just like the last time, we are also running an interesting trivia contest during the live session. We will be asking the audience three questions throughout the session. So, three lucky winners who answer all these three questions correctly will win a gift hamper from Purina Pro Plan. So, sit tight and stay tuned to this chat as the trivia questions will be announced in the middle of this entire 1 hour session for you to answer in the comments below. Till then, let us begin with the basic understanding of this very special breed and improve our knowledge further about Shih Tzus. Are you ready, Srinivas?
Yes.
Sure. So I think starting with the history of Shih Tzus, we know they are one of the oldest dog breeds present. But can you please tell us a little more about their history in general?
Uh, a lot of people actually think that Shih Tzus are mainly Chinese.
Yeah.
The most fun part about it is actually Shih Tzus are not purely Chinese. Yes, as a breed called Shih Tzu, they did originate in China, uh, but the actual ancestors came in from Europe. Which
Okay.
would be currently basically in the olden days there used to be an empire called the Byzantine Empire, and they
Okay.
had these small dogs. Uh, Basically, various different mixes that they use for different kind of purposes. Some were used for hunting, rodents. Some were used as feet warmers. Some were used just as companion dogs, something like that. Yeah, because we didn't have central heating in those days. No electricity.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
feet warmers. So they're just the dog would sit on their feet and warm. uh,
Okay.
so what happened is from areas like Malta, Greece, etc., Turkey, uh, small dogs, were given as gifts by passing traders to the Tibetan monks that used to live in Tibet. And obviously, all of us know how, like, if you ever been to Tibet or any of like Dharamshala, etc., as soon as you see the Tibetan monastery, you will see that they have a very strong affinity towards lions. Because
Right.
lions are supposed to be, very spiritual animals, very closely spiritually connected to Tibetans. And the first thing they did after seeing the dog is they decided that why not have this dog that we've got as gifts and try and make them look a little more closer to lions, so that
Okay.
we have a companion animal for us that looks like a lion. So it would also, in principality, be close to our spiritual matters. So they started breeding various kind of dogs, including pugs and Pekingese, to get that flat kind of dogs,
Right, right.
and as a result, Shih Tzus were born.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
but their actual main prominence came into view when the Tibetan, the lamas or uh, a step below, so basically the Dalai Lamas that came in
Right.
later in the early days. So the lamas gifted in those days. China had an emperor, and
Okay.
they gifted these small dogs to the emperor. Uh, so all throughout the Tang Dynasty and even almost the whole of Ming Dynasty, these dogs were famous, and they had just one purpose. Uh,
Okay.
they were supposed to either be lap warmers for the kings and the queens.
Okay.
Hence, these dogs are actually royalty. So
Right.
anybody who's got a Shih Tzu should be proud that they actually have a royal dog in our house. And the second
Right.
thing that they will use this in those days, we didn't really have CCTV cameras, right?
Right.
Neither were there walkie-talkies for security guards to kind of have any kind of communication. So when the royal family used to hang out alone amongst themselves
Okay.
when the subjects and soldiers weren't around, these dogs would be around them. And as soon as they smelled or heard something that was very unfamiliar, they would go barking in the normal Shih Tzu way that they do.
Right.
An
Right. Right.
alarm for the soldiers that excuse me, I smell or I hear something that is very abnormal and unfamiliar. So that was the alarm
Okay.
for the soldiers to know that okay, something is wrong. So not only were they only lap dogs, in a way they were security dogs, even if they don't look
Wow.
like it.
Right.
And
Right.
all this happened almost, this is what, 2021, all this happened close to 1500, 1800 years ago.
Wow. That's that's why they are the oldest breeds, I guess.
They are one of the very oldest breeds. But one more interesting fact that people would like to know, all the Shih Tzus that you see nowadays are only a result of 14 dogs from those
Interesting.
days.
Interesting.
Seven male
Interesting.
dogs and seven female dogs. In
Right.
those, and they were not pure Shih Tzus. It wasn't like seven male Shih Tzus and seven female Shih Tzus. No. In that 14 dogs, there were at least a few pug, a few Pekingese, and the few other wild dogs and ancestral dogs that came in from the Byzantine Empire from Europe.
Right.
All they
Right.
were bred. And initially, you were not allowed to have a Shih Tzu if you were not royalty. You would be beheaded or thrown in
Okay.
the jail if you were
Oh
found with
my
a
God.
Shih Tzu. Even if you
Okay.
tried breeding one, breeding one, they would possibly have you, killed.
Okay.
It was only for royalty, and there was only one breeding house in the whole of China, and that was under the emperor's head. After, so the lady was called Zhu Shi, uh, Tzucxi,
Okay.
and she was the one who had the main kennel, breeding kennel. And after she passed away, that's when the world wars and everything started coming in the mid
Wow.
1900s. That's when this breed started going out of China.
Wow. That
In
is
fact,
interesting. That is very interesting.
almost close to 1935, 1938, a little before World War II started, Shih Tzus were extinct from China because China transitioned politically from the emperors to the current Communist Party, and these breeds were almost extinct because the party didn't want anything to represent the royal family.
Okay. That is harsh.
Yeah, but
But yeah.
thankfully, due to the World War
Right.
soldiers that came in, these breeds went to England. And finally, did you also know that Shih Tzus actually were first in the group of Lhasa Apsos?
I did not. I did
So
not.
then the England Kennel Club said, "Excuse me, let's give them their due," and hence the Shih Tzus
Oh,
were born. So they are very
glad.
old breeds,
Right.
but they are comparatively not so old when you look at paperwork.
Right. Definitely. So we already have a lot of questions coming in, Srinivas. I think
Wow.
let's just take one from Stella. And Stella says, "My Shih Tzu girl is 1 year old. She used to eat and drink properly, but after her heat cycle, I have to force her to eat food. Any tips that she will eat and drink properly? I have tried all tricks."
Well, the problem with Shih Tzus is they are very smart, they are very proud, and they
Okay.
know that I will get what I want. Uh, even a lot of trainers would agree to this, that when we tell people, oh, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to be strict and disciplined, it's just that
Right.
lovely puppy eyes that they look at you from. And people and pet parents are just not able to be strict with these puppies or dogs. And eventually they just give in. So
Right.
basically, what happens is Shih Tzus are also, again, royalty dogs, right? Aristocrats. So they have a certain aura of even a little bit of stubbornness on them. So if you force them to do something, they'll exactly do the opposite. Like, excuse me, make me try making me do it. Or the
Okay.
second thing, okay, I'll do it for you, but what will I get in return? So that's the kind of attitude that they have. So what happens? Pet parents tend to bribe the dogs by saying, okay, you don't want to eat this dog food, I'll add something nice to it. And adding something nice to it basically means you give in to the fussiness of the dog, and automatically you tend to give in to the dog not choosing to eat what it wants, eventually leading to people force feeding the dog,
Okay.
or basically hand feeding the dog. I
Right.
know.
Right.
I mean, if we do a census, a good amount of at least 60 to 70% of Shih Tzu owners will accept the fact that they hand feed their dogs. So, um, the simplest thing is, again, I'll go back to my first thing, where you need to be a little stricter. You need to see, at one point you're offering the dog the food. You cannot digest the food for the dog. Okay.
Right.
Uh, so the biggest thing that you can do and the best thing that you can do is offer the dog the food. Don't keep it lying around. Remove it in the first 5 to 10 minutes. That's what most of the trainers will tell you again, and most of the behaviorists will tell you as well. Your Shih Tzu is possibly going to be a little stubborn and not eat for the first day or the first 2 meals or something like that. Uh, and maybe the second day, first half or something. But normally by second day they do start eating it. If you keep on adding new things to their food because they're not eating the previous one, they will tend to get even much more fussier. Unfortunately, we don't have that many ingredients in the world that we can keep on replacing.
Okay.
Eventually you're going to run out of ingredients, because right now this dog, for example, is about Stella, right? Stella is about 1 year old. Oh no, Stella is the owner's name. What's the dog's
Yeah.
name?
Dog's name is not given, but it's 1 year old.
Okay. So basically, Stella's dog, what's going to happen is, even if she keeps on switching, maybe after a month the dog's going to say, I don't want to have the dog food with chicken right now. So maybe Stella will start with mutton, and then eventually with something else, and you'll run out of ingredients. The best thing to do is stick to one meal plan and make sure that the dog eats that.
Okay.
A lot of people do the mistake of keeping the dog food out for longer durations of time. That is actually a biggest mistake, because the dog thinks, in the dog's mind, the dog is thinking, oh, it's always there, so I can eat it whenever I want. There's no
Okay.
compulsion of the food's not going anywhere. But if the food goes away after a set stipulated amount of time, the dog thinks, oh, if the food's not around and I'm hungry, then I'll only get it after at the next meal time. So that
Right.
works. Also, with things like treats, I'll possibly not offer treats to the dog if the dog has not eaten a meal. Treats are a privilege that goes in because the dog's been a good dog. If I still keep on giving treats and the dog fills up on treats, it's like children, right? If you give children anything to eat, they're not going to have their meal. The same thing goes on for these dogs as well. It sounds much more. Um, it sounds very simple, but I know for a lot of pet parents it's going to be very difficult because, well, those puppy eyes.
Right. So we have another question from Ganesh Kapoor, and the question is: I recently adopted a Shih Tzu and wanted to understand their grooming requirements, like when to initiate and how often to do it. Please advise.
Okay, Shih Tzus don't really shed a lot. They are not very bad shadows. A lot of people tend to think, oh, such long hair, that means there'll be hair, hair flying out everywhere. Not really. Shih Tzus don't shed a lot. What does happen though is they require regular grooming. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll possibly put the grooming requirement of a Shih Tzu between 7 and 8.
Okay.
Why? Is because long hair basically means they need to be tended to very regularly with you know Shih Tzus breed specific brushes. The most simplest of brushes that you can get for long haired dogs is, and the most common brush that you can use for a Shih Tzu is a slicker brush. The next thing that you can go for is a rake comb. These two will basically keep the fur free so that it can breathe. More the skin breathes, the better it is. Uh, Never comb a Shih Tzu against hair growth. It's going to cause a lot of problems, a lot of matting. Matting is another enemy. So here's my top 5 tips to maintain a very good coat. One, do not give them a bath too often. A lot of people do the mistake of giving their dogs a bath once in a week or once in 8, 10 days. I'll
Okay.
possibly do, if your dog gets very dirty, I'll possibly do once in 15 days. Anything lesser, you are spoiling the coat's moisturization capability, and it's going to be a lot of issues, dry skin, etc. Point number two, you can tend to brush your dog every day. For a Shih Tzu owner, I'll possibly brush my dog 15 minutes twice a day.
Okay.
Um, Possibly, if you want that silky kind of coat, and
Right.
always clean the folds around the face after every meal or after drinking water, because the furriness as well as humidity and heat will cause fungal infections. uh,
Okay.
Apart from that, use a good conditioning shampoo and blow dry, so that don't a lot of people do the mistake of towel drying and leaving the dog as it is. Blow dry, they need to be
Okay.
completely dry, and believe me, you can have the one of the best coat of a Shih Tzus possible.
All right. All right. Before we take further questions from the audience, I would quickly announce the first trivia question that we have for our audience. So, the first trivia question that we have for you guys today is, where did Shih Tzus originate? Your option one is India, and option two is Tibet. I'll repeat the question. Where did Shih Tzus originate? Option one is India, and option two is Tibet. So start answering and keep commenting on the post below. So I think we'll move on to the next question. So one we have one from Padmavati, and she's asking, Ginger, my 2-year-old Shih Tzu just doesn't want to eat. What can I do to ensure that he takes his food properly and regularly? So
That's the kind of questions you're going to keep on getting for Shih Tzus.
right,
They tend to be very fussy as they grow up. See,
okay,
again, what happens is, because of their compact body, high energy requirement, high protein requirement, and the fact that they don't want to eat, it tends to get a little difficult for pet parents to have, uh, to have the possibility of giving them a balanced meal every time, leading to a lot of hyperacidity issues in Shih Tzus. I think, as far as Ginger is concerned, she's already two. So the first thing that the parent, like Padmavati, right?
correct.
The
Padmavati.
first thing that you should ideally do is get in touch with the vet, and as a standby, have some antacid kind of medication available. The most common ones over the counter is by Himalaya. I think Digiton Plus works really well. We use it for puppies as well, but I don't know your dog, so it's better if you ask your vet first. And the second thing that they can do is go back to my first advice, where keep the dog food out for not more than
Right.
10 minutes. If the dog's not eating, then remove the food within that 10 minutes, and then offer a meal only during the next meal time. If you keep on changing food again and again and again, the dog's going to get more and more and more fussy. Um,
Okay.
Stick to a balanced diet of maybe commercial dog food as well as home food. Uh, but that happens post the fussiness goes away. Because what's going to happen is, say for example, if the dinner is a home cooked meal and say breakfast or lunch is a dog food, um, the dog's going to skip through the morning meal, directly go for the dinner, and will be happy with it, because then says, oh, dinner is chicken or dinner is paneer or something like that, and that's much more tastier, is what the dog thinks. Dogs don't really have a very good developed taste bud, but they do have a really nice developed sense of smell. So anything that smells better, it could be your aloo ka paratha or the best sambar that you possibly made, and the dog's going to be wanting to eat that. Generally, as a rule of thumb, human food is kept away, um, and I would hold back on most of the tasty foods, high palatable foods, till the dog is back on track eating the food that it is supposed to.
So moving on to the next question. The next question is from Bennett, and the question is: My Shih Tzu is 1 year old, but he hardly drinks water. I know this will affect his health. What shall I do to increase the content of water?
Okay, this is actually a very important question as well for a lot of people who possibly have Shih Tzus, young Shih Tzus. See, Shih Tzus are very highly prone to kidney problems and kidney infections late in the second part of their life. If they don't come from a very good breeder or a very good breeding place, then they can have these problems a little earlier because the general upkeep of the body is in there at bad breeder. So water intake for a Shih Tzu should actually be very important factor. What you can do is now, that the summer's also there. Um, you can make something like for wild animals, there's something called as an ice lake. A ice lake is basically a big block of ice that they use in a lot of African countries, a lot of desert countries where they want to cool down the animals. What they'll do is possibly they'll take a huge block of ice, which will have meat or fruits or vegetables depending upon what animals it's going for. The same thing can be done for Shih Tzus here as well. What you can do is take maybe a medium-sized bowl. Anything that is bigger than the Shih Tzu's mouth would absolutely be wonderful. I'll possibly put either watermelon without seeds or any fruit that the dog likes. I would not choose anything that is citrus because it's going to spoil the texture of the coat for a Shih Tzu, and obviously nothing that is too sugary. So apples, maybe banana, maybe watermelon works. I'll fill the bowl with the fruit that's needed, and I'll possibly either put vanilla ice cream or water and put it into the freezer. What's going to happen after a few hours is now it's going to come like an ice cream that also has fruits, the dog's favorite fruits in there. You can also, I mean, if you want to experiment, you can also put chicken or something else because it's a frozen block, right? That can be offered to the dog as a cool down factor. Also, because the dog continues to lick it, watermelons and even automatically vanilla ice cream or just water for that matter, it's all going to go into the dog's body. So that way you can increase the water intake. The second thing you can do is when you give the dog its food, the food can be a little soupy. So you can add a little maybe chicken broth or mutton broth or veggie broth, anything that your dog possibly likes. That helps increasing the water quantity. Sometimes, if your dog isn't lactose intolerant, and if your dog is okay with milk products, you can try buttermilk as well, diluted buttermilk.
So we have a few questions coming in on our page, and one of them is, so Roshni asks why vet don't advise to bait Shih Tzus till 3 months. It's from Roshni.
Okay. This question actually is generally there applicable for most of the dogs. Vets will never advise you to give your dog a bath before the vaccinations are completed, and mainly before 3 months. Mainly being generally when a puppy comes home, it is about 45-50 days old, too young. And at that age, if water enters the canal, or if you have not given a bath properly, or if the dog is already sick, the dog's going to ingest soapy water and drink water that it's basically the bath water, etc. You're just risking a lot of different kind of tummy problems, skin problems, etc. Plus puppies generally, if you I mean everybody who's possibly watching has handled puppies, they have a slightly denser coat and the coat has a different kind of texture to it as compared to older dogs. You would not want to wash off that initial film that they are born with, and then giving rise to further more infections. Um, so generally, even a good groomer would not advise giving your dog a bath at a very young age. Depends though. There are certain breeds and certain cases where we would agree on giving them a bath. Also, with puppies, you have to use carefully. You have to select carefully what kind of shampoos you use. For example, whenever I have a puppy in the house, or if I'm dealing with a puppy, I generally only start off with hypoallergenic shampoos, so that anything that the dog can be allergic to can be avoided. And I only go on to very good quality conditioning shampoos when the dog turns 6 months and above. Till that time, your best bet is the dog brush, which is going to help that coat become wonderful.
Got it. So we have another question from Aditi Saxena, and Aditi asks, "What natural foods can I give my female 6 month Shih Tzu so that she has a beautiful coat?"
Okay. For 6 months, 6 months Shih Tzus. The coat, Aditi, you will have to be a little more patient for the coat to get come out at its complete glory. I hope you have not been to a groomer yet where you have snipped off the coat. If you snipped off, unfortunately, you have to wait another year or two for the fur to grow. If you haven't, keep brushing. Uh, what can help your dog get a good coat is don't feed a lot of sugary products, don't feed a lot of citrusy products, because these will play with the skin's pH and this will cause hair fall. Also, don't use very harsh shampoos. Stick to the diet regime that the vet has set for you. But thankfully, there are a lot of different kind of products that's available in the market today, also in our kitchen counters that will help. If you go to, I think, any natural store, you might be able to find cold pressed oils of both coconut as well as flaxseed, alsi ka tel. Uh, but it has to be cold pressed. The reason being,
Okay.
alsi is flaxseed is very volatile for heat and light, and so it comes in amber colored
Okay.
bottles, dark bottles. If you expose it to heat, if you expose it to light, it's just useless. It's just a normal oil.
Okay.
1 teaspoon of cold pressed coconut oil or 1 teaspoon of cold pressed flaxseed oil will do a lot of good. Every day, 1 teaspoon is more than enough. You will see a very good luster to the coat. At the same time, brush your dog 15 to 20 minutes a day. Twice a day is nothing like it. Keep your dog away from a lot of dust. If you're going out in place where there's a lot of mitti and a lot of dust, etc., put your dog into a t-shirt so that the coat is preserved. Believe me, for a lot of people, I've also showed Shih Tzus in different kind of showrings in the country, and if you want to, it's not very difficult maintaining the Shih Tzu's coat the way you see in pictures. You know, that lovely plumage and hair falling all throughout, and that lovely pony and everything, and the Chinese mustache that comes in. It's actually very easy to have. What's difficult is you need to remember what and what not to do for your dogs. That's why I've not told you a lot about what should you give, and I've told you a lot about what you should not give. And make sure hygiene is maintained. Never trim your dog's fur, even if it's in heat, it's very hot around you. Just make sure they're in shade and have water. Trimming exposes the dog to unnecessary elements. I would possibly not touch the coat. Just keep on airing it and brushing it, and you would be really happy. Not now, but you'll thank me when the puppy is about 18, 19 months old.
Great, great. So, Sandhya here asks, I have 7-month-old Shih Tzu. How much outdoor activity is important for puppy? Is it good to make him socialize with other big dogs, or there can be a risk of biting or hurting this small breed by bigger dogs?
Okay. I'll address it in two different parts. The socialization part, I'll address it a little later. The first, short and sweet. Uh, Shih Tzus are moderate exercise requirement dogs. So if you walk them about 20, 25 minutes twice a day, but when I say 20, 25 minutes, at least brisk walk. Do not go for a garden paced walk and don't carry your mobile phones with you. Otherwise, there's no walk happening. Um, they are not, yes, even if they are small dogs and you might have a 10,000 square feet home, they still require controlled exercise. It's the same reason why we go to gyms. We go to gym to work out. It's a controlled exercise schedule, and that not only helps us be physically fit, it also helps our mental stability and emotional stability at the same time. And that's exactly what walks do for dogs. A controlled walk, basically leash collar, or never put a collar on the dog though. A harness that goes V shape, attaches here and then goes from the side. Uh, it's called a V-shaped harness. You can Google about it and you can get it online. Uh, but that's what you need. That's it. Just a leash, a harness, and 2 walks a day. But that being said, when it comes down to socialization, uh, different people have different lifestyles, and try and match your socialization requirement to the lifestyle that you live. uh, a lot of people want their dogs to be best friends with every dog, every person, every living creature out there, which is not compulsory. I'm not friendly with each and every person that I meet. I might be friendly with almost all the dogs that I meet, unless and until there's a dog that wants to take my head off, then I'm going to keep my distance. But that being said, I would not uh, overexpose as well. Let your dog meet mature, well mannered adult dogs. When I say mature, anything over about 2 3 years of age, and well mannered, because the possibility of them teaching anything bad to your puppy is lesser. Your puppy will learn a lot of good behavior. Your puppy will learn all the good do's and not don'ts. If there's also a mature dog, will be faster in correcting a puppy as opposed to another puppy. If your puppy is meeting too many other puppies or too many other children who are shrieking, shouting, etc., then your puppy is going to start mimicking those behaviors. So meet dogs that are very well behaved. At the same time, go to environments that we are very much prone to. So generally, uh, as a country, we are pretty noisy. Be it a celebration, be it a festival, anything, we are pretty noisy, right? Police
Right,
coming in, even if there's a directive saying you're not supposed to play, only people are going to be bursting loudspeakers.
right,
So
right.
that's something that your dog needs to be okay with. That your dog needs to get desensitized to different kind of sounds, explosive sounds, dol tashe, drums. Uh, so focus your socialization on those aspects as well. And I think your dog should be very well settled by the time Diwali and all the other festivities start coming.
Okay. Okay. So I think before we take more questions from the audience, we have the trivia question two coming in for the audience. Let me quickly announce the question. The second trivia question that we have for today is it true or false? Shih Tzus need to be groomed frequently. Your options are true or false. So I'll repeat the question. Is it true or false? Shih Tzus need to be groomed frequently. You can answer in the comments below. Srinivas, we have a lot of questions coming in based on the food requirements and the nutritional requirements of Shih Tzus and how they are a fussy eater. So, can you, in general, talk a little about the nutritional requirements and what is required for them when we are talking in terms of nutrition?
Okay. See, Shih Tzus generally, when you talk about their general lifestyle, what it is supposed to be, not what we give them. I don't think we should talk about what we give them. When you talk about their general lifestyle, they are moderate
Yeah.
exercise dogs, and they
Okay.
do require a good amount of nutritional intake. Generally, yeah, wonderful. So
Yeah.
generally, as a puppy grows up, they require a whole lot of different kind of protein requirements. High quality protein mainly coming in, if preferably from red meat and white meat, um, because Shih Tzus not always taken very well to sometimes fish products, because sometimes they can have over protein issues of having too much protein as well. But a high protein diet coming in from a very good energy source is required across all age groups. That being said, a huge emphasis should be given on uh, different kind of multivitamins, different kind of minerals that is required while the growth stage is there. Even if they are small dogs, they almost put up 80% of their body weight and body height by the age of 7 months, 8 months max. They grow really fast, and hence they should be supplemented with optimum level of energy sources so that they can reach that kind of size and weight. When they transition from a small, a puppy or an adolescent dog to an adult, then the protein quantity obviously stays good. I wouldn't be providing with that high level of protein energies, but at the same time, a little bit of fat should be introduced as well. Why fat? People will say, "Oh, fat, fat. Why?" I don't want my Shih Tzus to become looking like footballs, right? Well, if you just saw the question asked while the grooming also happened, I mentioned two different oil sources. They are also fats. Fats actually do a lot of good for the coat and for the skin, coat, fur, etc. It not only allows the coat to be lustrous and shiny, but oil or different kind of fat content has omega 6 369, which is really important for the coat. And well, obviously, when you pair it with a good amount of lifestyle like exercise, at least a moderate amount of exercise, you will see that the Shih Tzu will have an optimum amount of happy lifestyle.
Okay.
Unfortunately, what generally happens is we give them too much of a sedentary lifestyle. They spend much of their time at home, and they're just running around, or maybe they are carried when they go out because people are worried about their coat getting bad, etc. Well, the coat does do a brilliant job of protecting them from different kind of elements as well. But at the same time, when you provide it with the right kind of nutrition, with the right kind of oils and fatty acids that's required, believe me, they'll do really really well. So your best friends are, when the dogs are puppy, your best friends are proteins as well as different kind of minerals and multivitamins. And when you have an adult dog, your best friends stays to be proteins, but we also look in at good amount of fat content coming in as well.
Yeah. Okay. So Rekha here is asking,
Sorry
can we
cutting
give
in. Sorry
each?
cutting in. Sorry cutting in. When I say
Sure,
fat
sure.
content, I've had a lot of people saying, "Oh, then I can give my dog ghee." No. So no ghee wale parathes and no ghee wale chapatis and puris. Shih Tzus don't really do very well on wheat products. A lot many Shih Tzus, almost majority of them are gluten allergic to gluten products. So I would not really want to introduce on heavy wheat products. Also, when it comes down to, since we're talking about nutrition, if you are feeding your dogs dog food, please adhere to the amount of quantities that is mentioned. A lot of people think when it says, say, for example, for a small puppy about maybe a couple of months old, and it shows about 60 to 70 grams of food, it just looks like a small bowl of, I don't know, half a bowl of a pani puri ka bowl. And then people think, Are itnu sa, my puppy is going to be hungry, and they end up overfeeding, which will
Right.
cause a lot of strain on the system. So please do follow the exact nutrition requirement mentioned in the dog food that you are feeding, and do not overfeed your dogs, please. Carry on to you.
So we have one question from M. Rage. He's asking, my Shih Tzu will be 3 years next month and very spoiled one. Doesn't eat at all. He only likes chicken liver and treats. He's just 6 kgs. Please suggest what to do to make him eat. I think
At
we have
6
covered
kgs,
this
your dog
question at
is
length.
at 6 kgs. See, as far as the eating habits and everything is concerned, I've already covered it at least a couple of times.
Right,
But at six
right.
kgs, believe me, your dog is the most healthiest. If
Oh,
your if your dog is 6 kgs as an adult, absolute hats off. Follow through what your dog is eating, and if your dog is not eating, it's basically because your dog is saying, "I'm not hungry." Your Shih Tzu should not cross more than 6.5. If it's a larger Shih Tzu, then maybe I'll go on to 7. Anything over is obese according to Shih Tzu standards. So 6 kgs is absolutely wonderful. Do exactly what you're doing right now.
okay. So Stella has one more question for a dog, Jessie. I have proper meal plan for Jessie, my Shih Tzu girl. Even give her food on time, but Jessie is ready to starve rather than eating. I have to force her. Any tips for I can at least make her drink? I think we have covered
Okay.
this one too.
The best advice and tip would be not to force her. Dogs
Okay.
actually have a very good biological system where they will only eat when it's required. uh, it's actually a human trait that we have put into them when we say that dogs are supposed to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Dogs do
Right.
not eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Tell me one dog that you've seen sitting with a churikata in the middle of the road waiting for its food to come. I have
None.
not. Right?
Right.
So, what generally tends to happen is dogs uh, will eat when they're hungry. The dogs will eat when they have an energy requirement. Otherwise, they would not really touch their food. A dog that decides not to eat is either because it's not hungry and it does not require. For a lot of people who have fussy dogs, try increasing the exercise schedule, and believe me, they'll start eating because they'll get hungry.
Okay.
So just stick to the schedule, and you should be good.
All right. So we have one more question from Saurabh, and the question is: my dog is 4 months old, and the problem is he wants my hand all the time to chew whenever I'm around. I've given him all else things like chew sticks, but is not correcting its behavior. What should I do?
Could you repeat the question again?
So he's asking, my dog is 4 months old, and the problem is he wants my hand all the time to chew whenever I'm
Ah,
around.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. See, generally, what happens is when a dog is spending a lot of time with its mother. Uh, is the video frozen or can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay, wonderful. Because for me,
Yeah,
it's frozen for some reason. Okay. See, generally,
must be
what
a
tends to
glitch.
happen is when the puppy is with the mother and the
Hmm.
puppy is getting its new teeth and they go on to bite their mother or teeth on to their mother, the mother will give them a correction. Or the best thing that it will do is just get out of that place, saying that I don't want to behave, I don't want to be with you because you're biting me. When a puppy comes into a human household, we tend to feel it cute when the puppy is biting us with its small tiny teeth, right? That's where the main problem starts.
Okay.
Uh, when the puppy feels that putting teeth on skin is absolutely okay.
Hmm.
If the puppy is 4 months old, obviously it is teething and new teeth are coming in. So good thing is he's giving a lot of different kind of chewies, etc., for the dog to chew. But the dog also needs to learn that the dog cannot practice mouthing and teething on skin as well as clothes that I'll be possibly wearing or things are lying around. The best thing that you can do, and believe me, it's the best thing, is ignorance. Ignorance is bliss. So the moment the
Okay.
Shih Tzu comes and even touches its teeth on my skin, I'll possibly just get away and move, not wanting to interact with the dog. When you do this a few times, the dog's going to think that, oh, why is this person getting away from me whenever I want to play? And it will soon start joining the dots, and they will know that okay, this is what is causing the problem. It's basically a trial and error method. It works when done with 100% consistency. All you need to do is get up and move away from it.
Nice. Okay. So we have one question from just a minute. Nikunj, and he's asking if you want to denote a task to a Shih Tzu, which working group would be best for them?
Uh, well, that's a little difficult because they are too small and too cute to be in the utility group. I would not put them into a gun dog group. I would possibly, I think they are better suited to the toy group.
Yeah.
I possibly keep them in the toy group because, see, there are certain terriers, like for example, a Yorkshire Terrier. I would not call that dog a toy dog because they still, because being a terrier and being the breed of a terrier, they still have a good amount of hunting instincts. Shih Tzus, unfortunately, we have bred them out of a lot of different kind of instincts, and they don't do a lot of things that they ideally should be doing. So, toy group, best thing to do.
Okay. All right. So our next question is from Amala Rani, and the question is how many times we need fed for 4 months puppy? How many times should they be fed?
4 month puppy, I think, should be fed close to 3 to 4 times, depending again on the energy requirement.
Right.
If the energy requirement is high, I would possibly feed 4 to 5 meals. Uh, if the dog is already on pet food, just look at the back. You can see the feeding schedule. So for a Shih Tzu, I would possibly look at uh, an adult weight of about 6.5, and compared to the month. So how old your puppy is right now? I'll go across in the chart, and that would be the amount that I would feed in a day. Do not
Okay.
feed, if it says 150 grams, do not feed 150 grams of dog food per meal. If it says 150 grams, I would divide it by 4. If it says 100, whatever it says, I would divide it between 4 and 5 meals of day. Depends upon, again, different dogs have different feeding requirements. But for this particular dog, at that age, 3 to 4 times a day is absolutely wonderful.
Okay. So another follow-up question from Amala Rani is how to remove pigmentation. The same 4 month puppy.
Pigmentation from where?
That is not mentioned, unfortunately.
Okay.
Amala, can you comment the complete question if you're watching? Yeah, so we'll move on to the next question in the meantime. The next question is from Soni Shetty, And the question is, my Shih Tzu barks at all the dogs in the park. What can be done?
Uh, okay. Generally, Shih Tzus, generally Shih Tzus are a little aristocratic. They would want to behave like kings. So if they find that certain dogs are being little too unruly or too peasanty, they will try to bark it because they want things to be a little corrected. Shih Tzus are
Okay.
of controlling nature, and that's what they are. So when they see, uh, when they would obviously like to have fun, but it's just that excitement sometimes gets them. And they're very vocal dogs. That's the reason they were bred for
Right.
and kept, right?
Right.
So lot many Shih Tzus bark when excited, but it depends. Certain Shih Tzus who are not very social with other dogs tend to get irritated when they see other dogs playing the way that normally this particular dog isn't allowed to. And if left free, will possibly get into a minor scuffle where it tells the other dog, "No, you're not allowed to play this way."
Okay.
Um,
Right.
and well, the best thing that you can do, I obviously don't know this dog, but the best thing that can be done for this particular case is get the dog's attention diverted.
Okay.
If it's barking out of aggression, and if it is barking out of excitement, let the dog go and play.
Okay. Okay. Great. The next question is from Dhriti, and Dhriti Desai asks, I have a 2-month-old Shih Tzu who is vaccinated with initial 2 doses. Can I take him out for 2 days in a private vehicle and a private bungalow?
Uh, See, the problem is, yes, obviously you will you a car is not a problem. The problem though is outside air. What generally tends to happen, apart from, see, there are certain kind of diseases that come in through saliva and maybe infected water, maybe infected areas sometimes, uh, where it's like, when we are touching something and maybe you have touched the gate where maybe might have some kind of strains of leptospira on them, or it can be water based, it can be air based as well. So it's just too much of a risk to take. A private vehicle obviously makes sense, but I would not expose my dog to too much of outside air, uh, or too much of outside elements. If it's a private bungalow that has been thoroughly cleaned and sanitized, and they don't really have a garden, which basically means do not have rats or anything coming in, it might
Hmm.
still make sense to do that. But they have to be really careful that the dog should not pick up on random objects.
Understandable.
And
Understandable.
obviously, do not keep the dog out on roads or pathways. Even if you think that there is no dog around, a dog,
Right.
a stray dog, or any dog for that matter might have come along on that path at various times of the day. So, fecal matter, urine matter, anything can be there. So, it's better not a
Right.
risk to take.
So we have a question from Chinmay Desai. Chinmay Desai asks, at what age we have to take a Shih Tzu to the professional groomer for the grooming, and also can we shave the entire coat in summers?
Absolutely no shaving. If you shave a Shih Tzu, you're going to basically give a VVIP invitation to all the ticks, fleas, dust-related infections, sun-related infections, water-related infections, and everything else. Doggy coats are brilliant in terms of maintaining temperature uh, and hygiene. It's just that we need to brush them to give them fresh air. When you leave a dog out, um, uh, you know, with completely brushed or completely trimmed off fur, it's going to expose the coat to sunlight and different kind of elements in nature, which the coat is actually not designed to handle. So absolutely no to shaving off. You can do something called as a hygiene cut, where they remove fur from around the penile region, vaginal region, or the
Right.
anal region, and under the paws, so that things become a little easier to maintain. But absolute no to shaving off fur from the whole body. What was the first part of the question? Sorry.
The first part of the question was, when can they be taken to a professional
The
groomer?
groomer.
At
Okay.
what age?
At what age? So generally, after the vaccinations are done, maybe a week later, because that safety also comes into picture. After the vaccinations are done, start going to the groomer. The first or the second time when I go to the groomer, I might not choose to do a lot of things. I will possibly ask the groomer to just kind of make friends with the dog in a way so that the dog does not hate its groomer. Because as the dog grows up, there's going to be scissoring, scissors, there's going to be blades used on the dog in different kind of areas. You don't want the dog to start hating its groomer.
Okay.
Uh, so at least try going to two different groomers so that in case one is traveling, you will have the other one to still kind of manage things. Because Shih Tzus, if you want to maintain a good amount of coat and good coat quality, make sure you have at least two groomers at hand. You will require help from groomer from time to time, but go immediately after the vaccinations are done.
We have another question, and the question is from Sherwin Pinto. And the question is, I want to get home a Shih Tzu, but I go to work and live alone in a small apartment. Will he be fine staying in such a setting by himself a couple of hours a day?
Okay. See, generally, Shih Tzus can stay alone. That's not really a big problem. As long as they are not left alone for like 10, 12 hours a day, it should not be a big problem. If it's just a couple of hours, like the person mentions, it should not be a problem at all. Shih Tzus can live alone. Also, the size of apartment hardly matters. I mean, I'm based in Mumbai. Uh, if you've ever been to Mumbai, you should know the kind of space that we have in Mumbai apartments. And living in an apartment myself, there was a time I had two German shepherds at the same time. Right now, I have a small terrier, but I might plan on getting another shepherd home. So space is not a big issue as long as you can maintain and give the dog the kind of lifestyle it needs. Uh, so yeah, absolutely okay. The dog
Okay.
can stay for a couple of hours at home alone. Absolutely fine.
All right. The next question, I think before we take the next question, let me quickly announce the third trivia question that we have for our audience. So, guys, the third trivia question for today is, which of the following animals are genetically related to Shih Tzus? Option 1 is wolves, and option 2 is cows. I'll repeat the question, which of the following animals are genetically related to Shih Tzus? Option 1 is wolves and option 2 is cows. Okay. So let's move on to the next question, Srinivas. This is from Shalini Periwal, and she asks, my Shih Tzu has ear skin peels. It's like dandruff. It's not an ear infection, it's just skin flakes. He's 9 months. His thyroid was within range, but no lower side.
I would not comment on anything to do with thyroid or anything as such because that would require a vet's assistance. A flaky skin around the ear generally means either too much of wax build-up or that the dog has a mild infection. It also I would probably suggest them to check the coat. If the coat is also flaky at places, then the skin is too dry, and they need to start supplementing it with some sort of omega acids. 369, whatever works, flaxseed, coconut oil, or something, because the coat is too dry. That's what generally what flaking comes to. But if it not many times it can be a bacterial or a fungal infection, so you can possibly get a skin scraping done or at least a test to see what is wrong. But the most common thing that should be is too frequent bathing, which is causing the whole issue for you. Also check if the ears are stinking. If they're stinking, then for sure, there is some kind of pus or
Yeah,
fluid
right.
buildup in the ear.
Okay. The next question is from Aditi Saxena, and she asks, I don't plan to have puppies from my Shih Tzu, but do I need to get her spayed?
Okay. Uh, there is I'm not somebody who is very pro neutering. I'm somebody who is neutral to the process. For me, neutering a dog comes, or whether it's pain or something, uh, it's generally two good reasons. One, there is a very good medical reason that can be hindering the normal lifestyle of that particular dog. And two, uh, as it is, see, before I go on to the second point, as it is, I would not suggest that you neuter your dog uh, when it's a puppy. Lot many vets say that at least wait for the first heat. I would possibly say at least wait till the dog is 4 or 5 years old. By then, the dog is not only mature but has already done, entered into mid age. By that age, by say 4 or 5 years of age, the chunks have normalized, and the dog is absolutely okay with the whole process. Um, then when you do it, you obviously remove a lot of different kind of unnecessarily unwanted issues as well. Like a lot of vets will tell you about cancer and a prolapsed uterus, something like that, which you don't want. So probably after 4 or 5 years of age, you should look at neutering as it is. But a lot of people also talk about mating their dogs. I would not want you to mate your dog unless and until you're a trained person who knows how to scientifically breed. That being said, I'm not fond of neutering a dog or spaying a dog way before age, say when it's a puppy, because it has proven both in animal and humans that spaying causes premature aging, and that will slow down a lot of different kind of processes that your dog's body needs. So just hold on to your horses. Do it after 4 or 5 years of age, or you can do it now if your dog has a medical condition.
Okay. The next question is from Jasjeet, and Jasjeet Rajput asks, my 2 month pups are perpetually suffering from cold. They eat fine, play fine, but have a transparent nasal discharge and keep sneezing all the time.
That does happen with Shih Tzus because they have a flat face, punched in face.
Right.
So a lot of nasal related issues come in for Shih Tzus. Uh, in fact, a lot of Shih Tzus do require nebulization from time to time. I would request if they can possibly speak to the vet and have something like a nasal decongestant that we use. You know how for us there are saline sprays and Otrivin, something like that, to clear up the nasal passages. We can possibly have something like that. If there are a lot of products available abroad, I'm not sure if they are available all around India, but you can get them cleaned so the discharges can be reduced. Uh, Also check if the color of the discharge is normal by a vet, because some certain discharges can only mean can just mean a normal condensation, and certain discharges means there is some kind of nasal or lung related issues in the dog. So be a little careful about that.
Okay. So, before we take the remaining questions, Srinivas, I would request you to share with our pet parents the answer for the Purina Pro Plans contest that we posted on 21st March. The question that we posted was, what does the name Shih Tzu means? Our options were little friend, and the second option was little lion. Can you please let the audience know the correct answer?
The correct answer for this is little lion, because that's exactly what the Shih Tzu translates into. The Shih Tzu is basically little and lion. Um, in the Chinese term, Z means small. That's the reason why we have the names like Xiaomi. So Xiao or Ji is basically small or little. So that's how it's translated into the English name of Shih Tzu. So little lion is the absolute correct answer.
Great. Great. Congratulations to all those who answered correctly. The next question we have is from Abhishek Duggal, and the question is, I have 53 days old Shih Tzu. I am training her for poop and pee, but she's not ready to do it where I want, rather doing all over. I've also tried training, but no luck.
Okay. Shih Tzus are notoriously difficult for toilet training because again, because of their very proud and stubborn nature,
Right.
where they say no, I don't want to do it where you want me to. I'll do it where I want me to. So yes, Shih Tzus, I do understand the pain, and I have a lot of empathy for the person who's trying to toilet train the puppy. What you can do though is, a lot of people tend to go a little haywire by doing everything together. My advice is to stick to one way. Toilet training is actually not that difficult. I've had Dachshunds and terriers being trained in just 2 3 days. All you need are two things: consistency and consistency. uh, it's all a matter of how consistent you can be. Let's make matters a little easier for anybody who might possibly look at a toilet training problem, or for this individual as well. So this is what I'm going to do. It's
Okay.
practically impossible for any human entity to focus on the dog 24/7, right? So let's focus on the timings when the dog is generally spending a lot of time with you. So every time the dog has woken up from its sleep, every time the dog has eaten its meal, and almost every time the dog is about to get into an excited play. Uh, for a puppy, the moment it wakes up, the moment or 5 minutes after the food is done, or just after a play session, they generally tend to want to go pee. So the moment the puppy wakes up, I would possibly pick up the puppy and take it to the designated spot where it is supposed to pee. Now the designated spot cannot be 2 kilometers away.
Right.
A lot of people tend to do the mistake, where, especially those who live in townships, pick up the dog from the 16th floor of apartment A and go 10 minutes out till the main gate and then keep the dog there. The dog's never going to get turned in that way. So instead of paying attention 24/7, you are at least zeroing in on at least 70 to 80% of the time the dog's going to pee or poo. That makes matters a little easier. Uh, Control, or at least have a watch out for the dog's water intake. That again helps a little bit. But yes, just focus on these 3 times: after play, after getting up from sleep, and after a meal time. Take the dog to a designated pee area. And as far as the spots where the dog is already peeing in the house, a lot of people generally tend to use phenyls or antiseptic, or like Dettol and Savlon and everything to clean up. That those things only tend to mask the smell. They act like perfumes. They do not remove the smell. uh, Make at least a simple water solution with some detergent on it in it. Mix it up and pour it on these areas where the dog frequently pees. That will remove all kind of smell and hormonal smells and enzymes, everything that comes with the pee. Make matters a little easier for the person to pee train. A puppy will tend to pee faster in grass or mud as opposed to anything else. If you choose to make your dog pee in a puppy pad, then make sure it's the same quality of puppy pad, non-scented pad. And at the same time, if you're getting a puppy to pee in the bathroom needs to be dry. Uh, Puppy will not pee in a wet bathroom generally because they feel that, oh, I'm already wet. So
Okay. Okay. So the next question is from Mohit Pinjani, and the question is: Are they friendly around kids too? Shih Tzus.
oh, absolutely. Shih Tzus love companionship. They are
Okay.
dogs that would love spending time with almost across all age groups. Only thing is, with be careful, in fact, with your children, because children tend to tease these dogs. And like I said, Shih Tzus are too proud to be teased around a lot, and that can make them angry.
Okay.
So teach your children how to be with dogs. No tail pulling, no fur pulling, etc.,
Right. Right.
and no unnecessary cuddling. Shih Tzus, even though they are so cute, a lot of people tend to behave as if they're teddy bears. They're
Right.
not really teddy bears; they're living entities. How would you feel if you keep on getting hugged by each and everyone that sees you?
Right. Right. Perfectly understandable. So Shalini is asking, how can we handle the daily eye area and geek that collects around their eyes?
Okay. Uh, so you have to clean with a wet tissue, preferably a non-chemical related product. Clean the area around the eye 2 to 3 times a day. Plus, you also get a lot of over-the-counter eye washes. That because Shih Tzus' eyes bulge out from their eyelids a little bit, they tend to gather a lot of dust, and that's exactly what gets converted into poop because the tear ducts are busy cleaning it every time again and again. So use a good quality eye wash. Ask your vet that what can be frequently used, and use that almost every time the dog comes back from outside. And you should see a reduction in the eye goop. But make sure that you clean that whole area with a wet tissue every 3 to 4 times a day.
Okay.
Otherwise, what will happen is they'll tend to discolor the coat and also cause an
Right.
infection.
Right. So
Plus, it
the
also
next
leaves a
question.
very bad smell.
Okay, okay. The next question is from Sandhya, and she's asking, my dog is 7 months old and weighs 7.2 kg. Do you think it's on heavier side? He's active in morning and and
Very.
evening and
Uh,
sleepy during daytime.
an adult dog should not weigh more than 6.5. But like I said, if this particular dog is uh, slightly bigger in size as compared to what normal Shih Tzus we have seen, then 7.2 is still fine. The best way to find out is take two fingers and touch the dog's rib cage. If you can very easily find, like if you can through the fur very easily find the rib cage while you go through, uh, then your dog is healthy. If it takes some time for you to find the rib cage through fat, then your dog is obese and needs to drop weights. But at 7 months, 7 kg sounds a little higher. But then again, I don't know. I have not seen the dog, so I wouldn't know. Uh,
The,
if you just ask me off the question, then yes, the dog is heavy.
okay. The next question is from Genia Chatterjee, and she's asking, hi, our 10 months old puppy does not want to eat by herself since last 2 months. We tried to stop feeding, but she didn't eat 2 days and vomited. So again, we started hand feeding, and she fed happily. What should we do? We give her two
Uh,
meals.
go
Yeah.
go back to not feeding. The dog is going to the vomit again possibly was froth with a lot and mucus. That's the acidity part taking place. Unfortunately, Shih Tzus get addicted to being hand fed, and you will have to do this for the next 10-15 years of its life. Please don't do that. It's going to be very difficult because eventually Shih Tzus also tend to get attached to the hand that's feeding them, which basically means that the main feeder cannot move out or cannot go anywhere even if it wants to because the dog won't eat. Go back to putting the food down for proper timings and stick. It's absolutely okay if your dog does not eat. Do not keep the food out for more than 10 minutes. It takes 2 to 3 days. Also, remember, I was just telling it a little bit time earlier that we have installed the time of breakfast, lunch, and dinner for our dogs. Dogs outside eat when they get food. So it's absolutely okay if your dog does not eat even for a few days. Uh, it's not going to be harmful for its life. Once the dog realizes that you guys are going to be stubborn about it and you guys are not going to hand feed, the dog will start eating on its own. Just keep some antacid handy.
Okay. The next question we have is from Shruti Dikshit, and she's asking, my 3.5 months old Shih Tzu is very aggressive and often bites a lot. Also, he keeps on scratching a lot. Anything to worry about?
Well, if he's itching a lot, it possibly means that he's eating something that is not suiting him, or something in the environment is possibly causing some issues. I hope they have not given a bath yet, or if they have, then I hope they have not used a very harsh shampoo that can dry the coat out and cause a lot of itching. That being said, the aggression could be, I wouldn't really term a 3.5-month-old puppy aggressive, but it could also be because a lot of different kind of games that we play. I would not advise any game that will possibly test your strength with your dogs or will possibly test your speed and attributes with your dog. So, no chasing games with the dog, no tug of war games, no wrestling games with the puppy, and no rough handling. The puppy possibly thinks that you like being rough handled, and that's exactly why the puppy is being rough with you. Stop the rough handling games, and you should see your puppy toning down soon. But your puppy is going to be annoyed when you stop playing rough games. So again, ignorance is absolute bliss. If your puppy gets too rough with you, just get up and walk away. Maybe put a physical barrier between you. You can shut yourself into a room, something,
Okay,
and do not meet and talk to the dog for the next 5 to 10 minutes.
understood. So we have a question from Deepa, and she's asking, are all Shih Tzu very moody? He doesn't let me comb, touch her, or even hug her.
Well, you have to respect boundaries for dogs. So yes, a lot of dogs do not really enjoy hugging unless and until they are either forced or they are from the small minority that enjoys hugging. Uh, That being said, if the dog is not allowing her to groom or anything as such, it's possibly because uh, well, the dog, I wouldn't call the dog moody. It's possibly because the dog thinks that it is far more superior hierarchically in the household. Things like basic training commands, things like grooming are something that your dog should generally allow you to do. If it is not, then there is a little bit of issue in the relationship between you and your dog. And as soon as you mend that relationship issues, it is going to be back to normal. Do not give your dog too much of leeway. A little bit of discipline goes a long way in maintaining a healthy relationship with your dog. But yes, a lot of Shih Tzus tend to get moody because we tend to get too soft on them looking at their cute faces.
Okay. So we have one last question from Dimpy, and she's asking, "Hi Shri, my three Shih Tzu dad, mom, son have different personality. My girl is an alpha trait. She doesn't bite but is a little bossy, and the two boys always play together among themselves and stay away from her when she comes to join and play with them. How do you fed them to play with the mom? Mom is neutered."
Well, if it's three different dogs that are spending time with each other, let them decide who they want to play with or not. As the person also mentions that the mother is the alpha, she will decide if she wants to allow the father and the son to play with her or not. Generally, in dogs, the hierarchically superior dog will instruct or allow or disallow the dog that is inferior hierarchically to do certain traits. It includes everything from grooming, playing, showing aggression, or even feeding for that matter. A lot many times when an alpha is approaching a dog that is eating, that dog will back off if it does not want to get into a fight with the alpha. So I think as far as the dogs are concerned, they are doing absolutely well among themselves and should not have human interference to break up the hierarchy structure that they have set among themselves.
Audience, we have the winners, the trivia contest winners with us. Let me quickly announce the names who have won the gift hamper from Purina Pro Plan. The winners for our trivia contest today are Chinmay Desai, Abhishek Duggal, and Sandhya Rawal. I'll repeat: Chinmay Desai, Abhishek Duggal, and Sandhya Rawal. Congratulations to all the winners. We would request you to inbox your details to Purina Pro Plan's Facebook page to avail your gift hampers. Congratulations again, guys. Um, so looks like our time is up, Srinivas. For the left out questions, we haven't been able to take up all the questions, but we will have to end the chat for now, and we will try to answer them in the comment section by tomorrow for sure. Alright.
Okay,
So
I'll keep a watch.
thank you, Srinivas, for joining us and helping us understand so much more about Shih Tzus truly. It would really help us in making an informed choice when welcoming them into our homes. Thank you so much for your feedbacks.
Thank you so much for having me here. And thank you,
And
pet parents, for asking me such wonderful questions.
right. Thank you, pet parents, who have joined us and the ones who participated in the session and got their questions answered. For the remaining ones, we will definitely try to answer them all in the comment section by tomorrow, definitely. To the ones who missed the session, don't worry. These live sessions are going to be a regular affair and we will be covering different topics going ahead. Meanwhile, you can watch this entire video on Purina's Facebook page, Purina ProPlan India. So thank you guys. Thank you, Srinivas, and thank you, pet parents.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations to the winners. See ya.
See you. Bye bye.